Hey everyone, welcome back to Yusuf Reacts, where we break down all things movies. Today, we're diving into a classic action comedy that brought us a dynamic duo. Like no other, that's right, we're talking about Rush Hour 1998. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker teamed up to give us one of the funniest and most entertaining buddy cop films of all time. So, buckle up, because we're about to break it all down. First, let's take a quick look at the story. Rush Hour kicks off with Hong Kong detective Inspector Lee, played by Jackie Chan, on a mission to stop a major crime syndicate. When the Chinese consul's daughter is kidnapped in Los Angeles, Lee is sent to help recover her. But in comes Detective James Carter, played by Chris Tucker, a fast-talking LAPD cop who isn't exactly thrilled about working with a foreign detective. The two have to learn to work together, despite their very different styles, as they try to save the girl and stop the bad guys. This is where the magic happens. The banter, the action, and the culture clash make Rush Hour a non-stop ride of laughs and thrills. Let's talk about what really makes this movie unforgettable: the chemistry between Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Jackie Chan brings his signature martial arts choreography, making every action scene exciting and full of energy. But it's not just about the fighting. Kin's comedic timing is just as sharp, which really shines in his interactions with Chris Tucker. On the flip side, Chris Tucker's fast-talking, loud-mouthed character is the perfect contrast to Chan's more serious and focused demeanor. Tucker's comedic style is all about attitude, and he's got plenty of it. The dynamic between the two leads creates some of the most memorable moments in the movie, like this one. What makes Rush Hour stand out is how it perfectly blends action and comedy. You've got high-octane chase scenes, incredible martial arts stunts, and then boom, a hilarious one-liner from Chris Tucker. It's this balance that keeps the audience engaged from start to finish. And speaking of stunts, Jackie Chan, as always, did most of his own stunts, which adds a level of authenticity and excitement to the action. From wild rooftop chases to intense fight sequences in cramped spaces, the choreography is just pure fun to watch. Let's not forget some of the most iconic scenes in Rush Hour. Whether it's Carter's hilarious attempts at speaking Chinese, Lee's jaw-dropping martial arts moves, or the classic line, "Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?" There are so many unforgettable moments that have become a part of pop culture. Beyond just being a hit at the box office, Rush Hour left a lasting impact on action comedies and buddy cop movies. It spawned 2 sequels, both of which were highly successful and cemented Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker as a legendary on-screen duo. It's a movie that people still talk about today, and for good reason. A loyal and dedicated Hong Kong inspector teams up with a reckless and loud-mouthed LAPD detective to rescue the Chinese consul's kidnapped daughter, while trying to arrest a dangerous crime lord along the way. Cultures clash and tempers flares as the 2 cops named Detective Inspector Lee, a Hong Kong detective, and Detective James Carter, LAPD, a big-mouthed work-alone Los Angeles cop who are from different worlds, discovers one thing in common: they can't stand each other. With time running out, they must join forces to catch the criminals and save the 11-year-old Chinese girl of the Chinese consul named Su Young. On the last day of British rule in Hong Kong, late 1997, Detective Inspector Lee Jackie Chan of the Hong Kong police leads a raid at a shipping bar wharf, hoping to arrest the mysterious crime lord Juntao. He finds only Sang Ken Loon, Juntao's right-hand man, who manages to escape. However, Lee successfully recovers numerous Chinese cultural treasures stolen by Juntao, which he presents as a farewell victory to his departing superiors. Chinese consul Solon Han T Ma and British commander Thomas Griffin Tom Wilkinson. Shortly after, Han arrives in the United States to take up his new diplomatic post. In Los Angeles, his daughter, Su Young, is kidnapped while on her way to her first day of school. The leader of the kidnappers is none other than Sam. Shortly after this incident, the FBI inform Consul Han, who calls in Lee to assist in the case. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Detective James Carter Chris Tucker of the LAPD is doing undercover work at a donut shop to meet a man named Clive Chris Penn, who is trying to sell Carter some C4 explosive out of his trunk. Two cops then pull into the donut shop and see the two suspicious men looking in Clive's truck. They then proceed to pull out their guns and tell them to freeze, not realizing Carter is undercover. Clive ends up shooting the cops and driving away, and while doing so, Carter is firing at Clive's car. Clive jumps out of the moving car just before it explodes. Carter then runs up to Clive and arrests him. The FBI, afraid that the injury or death of Lee would result in negative attention, pawn him off on the LAPD Captain Deal, who gives the assignment to Detective James Carter. The captain picked Carter after being upset about him destroying a city block and losing evidence, while in pursuit of Clive, as well as just being annoying and arrogant. However, the captain acts as though he picked Carter especially for the case and tricks Carter into thinking the FBI truly wants him. Carter is ecstatic, for he has had aspirations of joining the FBI. Carter, after discovering the real assignment, calls the captain saying he wants off the case. Captain Deal then gives him a choice: keep Lee away from the investigation or face 2 months suspension without pay. Carter reluctantly agrees, secretly intending to solve the case himself. Carter meets Lee at the Los Angeles International Airport and then proceeds to take him on a sightseeing tour of Los Angeles, simultaneously keeping Lee away from the embassy and contacting several of his underworld informants about the kidnapping. Lee finally escapes Carter and makes his way to the Chinese consulate, where an anxious Han and a group of FBI agents are awaiting news about his daughter. While being reprimanded by agent in charge Warren Russmark Rolston, Carter manages to accidentally involve himself in a phone conversation with one of the kidnappers, Sang, where he poorly arranges a ransom drop of $50 million. After their arrival at the agreed drop point, Lee tries to warn the FBI that something is amiss, but is ignored until a bomb inside the building is detonated, killing several agents. Spotting Sang nearby, Lee and Carter give chase, but Sang escapes, dropping a strange detonator in the process. After showing it to Carter's colleague, LAPD bomb expert Tanya Johnson Elizabeth P., they learn that the detonator could blow up C4, which takes us back to Clive. Carter and Lee go to take a visit to the county jail, where Clive is hoping to gain some information. Clive refuses to tell the cocky Carter anything, and believes Carter wants to frame him. Lee then intervenes, stating all he cares about is the little girl, that she is only 11 years old and is in grave danger. Clive tells the duo about Juntao and that they can find him at a restaurant in Chinatown. At the restaurant, Carter is captured after going in alone, though he sees a surveillance video of Juntao carrying Soo Young into a van. Lee arrives and rescues Carter, and they are met outside by the FBI, led by Russ, who blames them for ruining the ransom exchange. Sang phones the consul, angrily telling him that the ransom has been increased from $50 million to $70 million, and threatens to kill Soo Young if anything else goes wrong. Disgraced and guilt-ridden, Lee and Carter are ordered off the investigation, and Lee is informed that he will be sent back to Hong Kong. Carter refuses to drop the case and confronts Lee on his plane to enlist his help, and the two men decide to save Soo Young together. The final confrontation comes at the opening of a Chinese art exhibition at the Los Angeles Convention Center, which Han and Griffin are overseeing, while the ransom is being delivered. Carter, Lee, and Johnson enter disguised as guests. After Carter recognizes Griffin from Chinatown, he creates a scene by alerting the spectators about a bomb threat in the building and tells them to evacuate. In the confusion, Lee sees Sang handing Griffin a detonator, identical to the one he and Carter had previously recovered, deducing that Griffin is really Juntao. Griffin then threatens to detonate a bomb vest attached to Soo Young if the delivery is interrupted. During the standoff, however, Carter manages to sneak out and locate Soo Young. Carter proceeds to take the vest off her, but Soo Young confesses to him that she heard them say that the vest will go off if anyone tries to take it off incorrectly. Carter then drives the van into the building and brings the bomb vest within range to kill everyone inside the exhibition. After a gunfight breaks out, Lee and Johnson climb into the back of the van and Johnson manages to get the vest off So Young, but tells Lee that it still can be set off with the remote. Lee then takes the vest and pursues Griffin. Meanwhile, Griffin goes up to the upstairs control room and shoots the agents up there, including Russ. A few moments later, Singh also goes into the control room and starts putting money into another briefcase. Then Russ, who was not killed by Griffin, groans, and Singh turns his gun on him. Just as he is about to shoot Russ, he is interrupted by Carter, who tells him that he is alone. Singh then challenges Carter to fight like a man. Carter agrees, but as both men put their guns down, both bring out their alternative guns, and Carter shoots Singh dead in the process. Meanwhile, Griffin attempts to escape with the ransom money, and Lee pursues him up several sets of maintenance ladders. During the pursuit, both men fall over the rail with Lee holding onto a rafter and Griffin holding onto the bomb vest, which Lee is now wearing. The money falls out of the case that Griffin was holding. The bomb vest then rips apart, sending Griffin falling to his death into a fountain below. Lee then loses his grip and falls from the rafters. But Carter is able to rescue Lee by placing a large flag under him to catch him. Han and So Young are reunited, and Han sends Carter and Lee on vacation together to Hong Kong. Before Carter leaves, agents Russ and Whitney offer him a position in the FBI, which he rudely refuses. The film ends with Lee and Carter enjoying their flight to Hong Kong. Carter shows off a couple of lines of Chinese to Lee, who is very impressed, as he had no idea Carter spoke Chinese. And then immediately requests a new seat as Lee breaks into a chorus of Edwin Starr's War. So, what are your favorite moments from Rush Hour? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor and check it. It hits an absolute blast. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome movie breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.